Good morning from here. Very warm greetings. Welcome back. So topic today, next 2 days, really links with the recent Murli on truth and the foundation of purity, truth, and divinity. And this title, being stubborn in truth, being firm, getting that feeling of it. Susie Kassam, she said, stand for what is right, even if you stand alone. Has a power within that. And Winston Churchill also said, you have enemies? Good. That means you've stood up for something sometime in your life. Kind of gives a spirit within the being stubborn in truth, that definitely there may be an element of courage, but then we will be in line with something that will take us through the challenges. So great to have everyone connected, and feel free to share where you're joining from. Somehow that gives a reminder of this amazing global family. And meanwhile, while you're putting in the chat, I'd like to welcome in Brother Prashant. Good morning, and over to you. Maybe getting orientated at the moment. Yet. Hello.
So, sorry.
Chance in the feedback loop. Okay. Yeah, please go ahead.
Good morning from here, and such a nice subject for us to explore and experiment over the next few days, and quite appropriate that we had a Murli on Sunday on the subject of Satyata, truth. The word Satyagraha that was coined by Gandhi in a long time, when he was in South Africa, and in connection with, what is truth, whatever they understand is truth. It is not enough just to know the truth, and yes, we are all for truth, but there has to be some determination there to stay in truth. And he used the word Agrah. Agrah means insistence on following the truth. With that meaning, we translated it as stubbornness, with similar meaning. Agrah. He said, if I know something is truth, like some simple in his lifestyle, for example, he knows to hurt anyone is wrong. If he has come to that conclusion, then there's no compromise on it. Whether it is a mosquito or someone biting him, someone is harassing him, to compromise that truth, he called it hypocrisy. He used that word for himself. If he understood something is right and does opposite even once, then he called it hypocrisy. That sort of stopped him from going in that direction. And it is good for us to use that word for ourselves. We don't use it for others. And our own idea of truth, what we understand as truth. If the truth is there and I'm going in opposite direction, then nothing will change. And then it is scholarly in understanding. But to bring about transformation, one is first I understand what truth is, and then stay with truth. So it was nice, this message, the quote that that was read just now, that you may be alone. You have to be prepared for that. If you know, because it is very likely the large majority of the world, they may know the truth, but Maya will take them in a different direction, and that becomes the crowd, maybe the whole world. But if you want to be in Satyagraha, if you want to stay on truth, you have to be prepared to walk alone. And it will create enemies also. You have to be prepared for that. That is part of the package. But truth, well, why do we want to be so caught up with the truth? You want to tell me? Why such a fuss about truth? It can create a huge hassle to everybody. Why do you want to be in truth? With such a, whole world is going other direction, and we are creating enemies, and whole life will be spent like this. So why do you want to be in such a situation? Isn't it better a little compromise? And what is your reason for truth?
So that we can watch everything as a detached observer. We will be aligned to our highest. We can listen to the inner voice to stay within our peace. God is the only truth. Truth brings freedom. To be on the correct path. To be like God, because truth is our original and natural state. Truth is imperishable.
Sure. Truth is imperishable. Okay. Everything else is going to fall apart. Truth ultimately wins, because truth means that is the way things are. Say if you want to go to another place, another town, say Bristol, you want to go to Bristol. There is one direction. If you got a false direction, and maybe everyone believes that is a direction, whole world, you believe in the right direction. If you want to reach Bristol, only the right direction will take you to Bristol. All other directions, you are lost and don't reach the destination. So also here, if my foundation is what is false, then everything falls apart. Suddenly it disappears, bubbles burst, and time is wasted and life is wasted. So it is good for us to know the truth properly, and then you are a winner. But before we come into and further discussion, let us create some time for our experience. And our whole idea of meditation, yoga, what Babas suggest yoga, they are all based on truth. For this, first important thing for us is the spiritual side. Truth, we need to see the whole picture. If I got a blinkered view, I can't see the truth. So this is like a first step. Use paras, use the spiritual sight. It is not an optional step. It is a compulsory step. Stone intellect just blocks this whole dimension. You are in that pot of the story day in and day out. It appears so important and big. But now you are using paras. game of a second. It is just like using the glasses. And what happens the moment you use these glasses? You can see the real world. You can see the true family. No one wants to lose their family. There's a true family you can see. You can see the true home. The second, you can see the true friend. You can see your true treasures. You're seeing the whole dimension of truth. What else can you see? This itself is a big, you can see the home. Without home, people are orphans. Here you can see the true home. Until then, we had a false home in the story, thought that is the home. Home, family, you see the treasures, you see the true friend. What else you want to tell?
True father.
Yes.
I was thinking also the enemy. I'm not sure if I'm on the same track. The journey, the returning point, the story, true love, the story for what it is, the different lives and stages. You can see the soul.
I have to mention to Sarah, your volume may be a bit lower, maybe just to.
Yes, thank you. Just changed, somehow it reverted. True self, the soul, the journey, the father, the enemy.
Good, very good. Also the true self. Just using this intellect and the sight. Now you're seeing the self. Until then, you didn't even know the self. How absurd can it be? That's why the darkness is an extreme darkness. Now we are at least understanding there is this world that exists, and this is the main world. Alokik. This world is main world. It is also eternal world. Just creating that time to see this dimension, that itself is like a nourishment for the soul. It is almost someone who is unconscious getting oxygen. Just exposing yourself to this supreme sky, knowing that this world is eternal. The whole thing is eternal. Your family is immortal. Your supreme friend and father, that relationship is eternal. No one can change anything. All sin is beyond harm. Bond with God, love from God is forever. No one can change this relationship and love and that bond. In spite of yourself, even if you are run away, that relationship is still there. Such is this dimension. So secure. Everything is so secure. This environment favors the soul. soul becomes conscious. Image is an immensely tiny point. For him, it is normal to be the point, normal to be immortal, normal to belong to that supreme sky. Normal to belong to that family, immensely lovely and divine family of souls. Normal not to need anything from the story. Normal to know he is so independent from the story. He sees the physical world for what it is and understands his complete independence. He doesn't keep it fuzzy. That world is separate, his world is separate. He is conscious. And he comes in the physical world. He remains the observer of the physical world. His form is a tiny point. Silently knows that he is very lucky. Why he is lucky? He also knows everyone is lucky. Firstly, his life is with God. He is loved by God. In reality, he knows true self, he knows the true friend and the Father. He knows this. This dimension itself is auspicious. No one cannot love. Such is this world. This dimension is divine and alaukic. All are lovely, loving, and lucky. So this is like the biggest lottery prize anyone can win. That is right in front. He knows his own mind. His mind, there is no reason for sorrow, no concept of sorrow. There is no concept of desires. He is never a victim. Nothing in the three worlds can harm him. And stories don't harm anyone. He sees this physical world as a story. Many things happen in that. There are wars and fires. But that is happening in a story. His world is imperishable, beyond harm. Silently, he is aware of this. Knows that he is lucky. He knows everyone is lucky. All are lucky, all are divine, all are alaukic. Unearthly. All are angelic. All are worthy to be loved by God. They belong to God. What can be a higher prize than this? And when the mind has no desire even, and there is no reason for or even disappointment, what remains is silent joy, a life of love and joy. Everyone is very dear, very lovely, childlike, and they are all godlike. Truth is like this. He is just seeing the truth. Every second we are just experiencing it. That is all. We are just experiencing it. That's what we have done in the last few minutes. We are making it easy for others to experience it. And this is the biggest help. As was said before, when the whole crowd is running in opposite direction, to change the direction of the herd is a very high karma. To change the herd, the direction of the herd to safety is a good karma. In this case, Baba's job is this, to change the direction of the herd. And that will happen if we have changed the direction. So each time you are just experiencing this dimension, you are making it easy for others to experience. In Baba's words, it is like creating light. Your attention in this alokik world creates light. It's as if you are shining torch. And then it becomes easy for others to come there. Highest karma for the person, but a huge benevolence for others. There can't be a higher celebration than this. There can't be a greater VIPs than here that you meet. We are talking about God and God's family. It is like the divine royals. Here is one who creates royals of the golden age. And you are with him in a relationship of equality. So that's a huge thing. Seen from here, the rest all is story. And then they are all royals in the story. Some celebrities in the story. Here are the real divine royals. That didn't take long to come in the truth. But when you are in truth, your karma are also on a different scale. When you are in truth, anything, if you got a right diagnosis, right medication, there are results. As opposed to false, if you are working chance, you might get some benefit. But if you are on truth, you get results. So here you stayed in truth for 10 minutes, 20 minutes. Whatever you did, it had created a huge karma in those 20 minutes. And it will have results in the present and in the future. Guaranteed results. To attain reward of Satyagraha age of truth, golden age, Satyuga. We need the foundation. Our roots need to be in Satyata, truth. To create golden age, we need our method has to be in truth. Without absolute truth, we can't create Satyuga. So let us hear some thoughts from you.
Someone has written Amen, in agreement. I like this aspect that if we really recognize that invisible dimension and the Father of the soul who is making the souls worthy for the new world, then how much of a royal VIP is that? But it's not a worshipping relationship. It is a relationship of equality, and actually everyone is included. But the recognition of that is how much we have really grasped that the invisible, and just by being in the experience, when we have stepped back from behind all the roles, then you're helping others to do the same. So no other comments right now. I'm sure there will be. I'm sure there are lots of thoughts, but nothing coming up right at the moment.
Yeah, sure. Let us come to our famous sketch. To grapple with the truth, we definitely need to know the factors that create falsehood. In the Murli of last Sunday, I know most of you heard that Murli of Sunday. We'll get a chance to read short passages from it, but certainly encouragement for those who have not read to create opportunity to read that Murli of Sunday. There are 3 words, and the Murli was based on 3 words that were used. One is Satyata. I will write. And Satyata is truth. Sat. Sat is like adjective, and Satyata makes it noun. It becomes truth rather than true. Other word was Pavitrata. And simple translation, purity. And the third was Divyata. Divyata is divinity, divine. In this game, what happens is the starting position of each and every one is immensely noble, as we experienced just now. we belong to this world which is auspicious. No concept of even desire or anything inauspicious. No concept of disappointment or no concept of well, anything inauspicious, vices and anxieties and manipulations and whole department of Ravan doesn't exist. Whether they are in the sky or on earth, and those who are soul conscious, that is the kind of life and that is their natural state. All that has to happen is they had to cross this line. This physical world, for today, let us call that physical world a plastic world. Just for today, see it as it will help us grasp what is happening. Compared to their world, this physical world is different. It is artificial. It is of the story material. But for us, the word plastic, plastic houses, plastic dolls, and plastic, cars. So it is a plastic box there, plastic world. It is nice, very cute, but artificial. It can offer you artificial happiness. Nothing wrong with it. We sometimes deal with plastic. Lots of things we deal with plastic. Nothing wrong with it. But this box is sophisticated and very convincing. It is complete with glitter, gold, song, bells, chime. What else? Lots going on here. Christmas is coming. And
artificial intelligence in there as
well? In the artificial world, there will be artificial intelligence also. So there is lots going on. There is ChatGPT corner here. And invisible player. This is an invisible player. Invisible player is no problem. If he is offered some plastic world, no problem. But what does it mean to cross the line? You want to tell precisely to cross the dotted line. What does it mean? When does one cross the line? To come in this plastic box is not crossing the line.
Means to forget what is beyond the line.
Even forget is a very advanced thing. What is the first thing that when you cross the line? Then you can be at the deep end of that other pot, plastic pot. You can be at the deep end. One can dive into it. That is more advanced. But to cross the line,
thinking it's real, attachment,
meaning you then go into ignorance, you create an expectation. Getting impressed.
Impressed, yes. And in Baba's words, if you start seeing anything there is worth more than a penny, 1p, if you have given value to anything there in that box, impressed is a good word. The moment you are impressed and has given value, you are already crossing the line. Then you are started collecting things, claiming things, and making a self-respect based on it. You think you are so rich because you collected so much plastic junk. Then you are into that downward spiral already. Further, you start identifying. You start thinking, I am the doll, plastic doll. That is a bit advanced. Yeah, you have reached the very, Ravan will give some special certificates to you. If you reach that level, that I am the doll. And by now you have completely forgotten about your sky. In that state, he can write books on truth also. No problem. He can write books on truth, and there may be some qualifications, certificates, courses on truth, but he's at the deep end of deception. But the big success of Ravan in that Kali Yuga, it's a dark age, absolute darkness. The sign of that absolute darkness is you don't know that you don't know. It appears completely normal. To live in that plastic world is completely normal. Everyone is so stable in it. You create structures, no one is questioning it. And when we use the word false identities and all, they are stubborn. Stubborn in error. One thing that is spoken about ego has got a board outside its entrance, and that board says, I am right. Ego can't handle that he can be wrong. His existence itself it's based on complete falsehood. To go into that plastic, it is not even your world, and he creates I there, and he knows that he's always right. I'm right. So don't know that you don't know. That is the thing. So the double ignorance, that is the life of the false identities, ego. So ordinarily, this is a very stable society. But there is a but. It is very stable. No one is questioning. Everything is going well. But what is the but? Ego cannot handle its own weight. The whole thing collapses by its own weight. In this world, because of this innate madness of ego all the time wants to get bigger. Ego thinks if he gets bigger head, he will be secure. If someone praises him, it will be nice. He constantly, regardless of his achievements, he wants to make the ego bigger. And as the ego gets bigger, his suffering gets bigger. So ego collapses by its own weight. It is too difficult to handle. What do you hear these days? In this world, present day world, technology is improving so much. Things are much cheaper today than many of the technical things are cheaper, and people are earning more. In the last 60 years, many cities, their income has gone 8 times more. We are 8 times more prosperous compared to 60 years ago. And means they can literally afford 8 times more things. But mental health problems are also on the increase. So everything they think is progress. There's so much progress. But ego is also getting bigger. And that bigger ego, there will be bigger burden. Recently, one slogan you might have heard, the root of all limitations, remove the root of all limitations. In Madhuban, there are some slogans, and one slogan I remember, root of all evil is ego. Of all evil, wherever you see anything in you, in someone else, the root of anything we do not like and that is inauspicious, root is ego. But ego is sitting there with a label, I am right. So there is a big situation there. So this is the story of our journey. We start from truth, and now we are into this camp, plastic camp, with all this signs everywhere. I am right. Baba was saying, even some Mahatmas and some great sages, but maybe nice people, they say, I speak the truth, and they may even get a title. They are called Satvachan. This kind of words are used for them. They are truth. They speak the truth, they are authorities on truth. But Baba is saying, no, this word truth is not that. To be given the title of Satyata, you need to know truth first. Otherwise, this ego doesn't mind putting a label, truth. I am always truth. In a limited way, he is speaking the truth and all, full marks. But first, you are under the spell of this huge confusion. You are drowning in that plastic world. You don't even know the self, true self. So first get the truth of yourself. Every aspect of this truth. Discover that truth and live in that truth. That is the potential. Then it is Satyata. Using this word plastic because then we can at least see the contrast. When we cross that line, we can see it. Otherwise, if this line is lost, if that line is fuzzy, then you don't even know when you cross the line. So we at least need to know the crease. If you are playing a game, you need to know the crease properly. So let us hear some thoughts from you. Anyone has crossed the line?
Useful to see the crease as the soul has dropped from being the honorable guest to the one who has got impressed and has crossed the line. But now we're coming back out. We need to see the crease when we are mixing soul conscious perspective and mixing it back into the character and attributing value to the effort making or the role, in this case, Sarah. So what does it mean for us now, this crease, the signs that something has become worth more than a penny, about the physical role we are associated with now? Is the question clear?
Yes. The first step for us is to use the best sight, best light, best intellect, and see the full map clearly. Even for a few seconds, minutes, let me see. If some sketch like this helps, that is good. If some using very strong words like plastic dolls and all, that helps, that's good. It is radical because our confusion is radical. It is extreme. We have gone in that spiral, downward spiral, and extreme darkness. We literally are thinking that plastic doll to be high and stuck at that level. That is why we hear this statement from Baba: forget the body, forget bodily relations, forget everything of this old world. Yesterday, Baba said it's Kabristan, graveyard. They are all buried in the graveyard. It is strong words. Because if they are unconscious, invisible player is unconscious. That is the strong word, unconscious. But we need to hear it. We buried in the graveyard. Light is extinguished because he is not even there for a long time. He is not even there. And the ego is running the show. Like right now, everyone is doing many things, but their mind and life is coordinated by ego, false identities. Life and mind means the ego is the master of their life. Ego is deciding things, ego is planning things. But life is going okay. Why is it a problem if ego is ruling the mind and life? Why should we make a big deal about it? Life has been going okay. No one was hearing about this Satyata. But last 100 years, we have done so much progress. Yes. It is not so bad. Why should we change it? What would you say to that? Everyone is doing well, no? They are doing colleges and studies, and they look after their families, work hard, and contribute to the community. So what's bad if ego is ruling the life and mind?
It's a time bomb. We haven't experienced the truth. Darkness is common for ego. Waking up, only then I realized I had dozed off. You mentioned earlier that ego collapses under his own weight. So it's like starts off small and then the soul is not conscious. It will bring us down more. It's like a downward spiral. And you mentioned earlier about ignorance, so then it just compounds the ignorance.
Sure. When ego is the king, because ego is embodiment of ignorance. As we saw, you cross the line, you are already, that line is a line of ignorance. And the ego is embodiment. He lives in that. He's not creating attachments. He lives embodiment of attachment. Defines himself based on that, something that is temporary and external. So that in that mindset is forever hardwired to feel he's a victim. Forever. So something breaks, he says, oh, what will happen to me? Will I die? Will I lose my job? Something will hurt me? So potentially victim. Someone said something yesterday, poor me, I'm a victim. He's hardwired to be a beggar. It's a constant desires, constantly insecure, constantly he feels empty. So he wants more. And this is the story with billionaires and with kings. As long as once you have crossed the line, the mindset is of a beggar. No one feels right now, okay, I'm content. No, they all the time want at least a little bit more praise. Give me something. Internally, he's empty. He's hardwired to be a slave. He's dependent on so many things. He goes on creating expectations and creates masters all around him. Other things will make him happy or unhappy. Someone need to say something and then he's happy. So he has made himself a slave. This mindset is of the orphan. He doesn't know his home. He doesn't know his family. He hasn't got a father. What will happen if I suddenly things change? What will happen to me? And this is the real situation, for everyone. It's consciously, subconsciously, they are in this mindset of the orphan. What is the other mindset in this ego? Do you want to tell? Mindset of the victim, mindset of the beggar, mindset of the slave, mindset of the orphan. Any other mindset?
Looks like enough to me, but if you want more, insecure, but that's not a mindset. A demon is coming up. Okay.
Yeah. Because Ravan is, this is the head of Ravan. Can you imagine how bizarre the situation is? His starting position is angelic, divine, godlike, lucky, deity. And what he finds himself into the victim, and these are the lowest denominations that can, externally you may have lots of cakes, but mind is of a beggar and mind is of a victim. That's what matters. You are experiencing your own mind. And so this is like the worst thing that can happen to anyone. If someone was to be made into a slave, he will say that is the worst life that is given to him. Beggar, in your town, in your city, beggar is the lowest that is possible. There are different jobs, but there is someone who is a beggar, the lowest level. And ego is hardwired. It is not sometimes 24 hours. He constantly wants something, thinking about how he can get something more. Creative. Beggars are also creative, how they can get something. All the talents are used for this. For a beggar to deal with a victim, you want to build castles. To deal with the slave so that masters behave properly. Deal with the orphan mind and deal with the demon mind. We have the option to come to that divine royal. That is the option we have. Likes to emphasize the game of a second. But we need to nourish the whole journey of the confluence age. It is not just 1 second you understood it. 1 second is nice to you come out of it. This second, Baba likes it, but then nourish it. That is what Baba wants us to do. Every minute we are creating time here in truth, that higher consciousness will become stronger. And this ego will continue to get dissolved. Recently, Baba said, the sin of the past, it is there, in the form of vices, in the form of all these heads of ego, all the heads of Ravan, that these are the sins of the past. So each time we have been feeding these identities, creating bondages here, that is the sin. And to dissolve this, we need the method. An obvious method is come in the light of truth. Maybe for 1 minute, but accurately come in the light of truth. So if you got anything to share, it will be nice. Otherwise, we'll come and we'll create time. We need to create time for the experience. And Sarah, want to add anything first?
I was just reflecting on the diagnosis, and I observe in myself resistance sometimes to dwell into the details of the victim, the beggar. But I'm realizing we need to really dissect the illness, because ego is so stubborn in falsehood. It's like a huge programming that we need to understand in order to realize, to grasp the stubborn in truth, what we are facing. How ego, when it's mixed in the effort, relegates the qualities to an affirmation, the divine, the royal, the angelic, godlike. It's almost, it doesn't give you power if you're not realizing the extent of truth. We need to also face the extent of falsehood. So seeing both very clearly, then we understand the game better. So I was just personally reflecting on that. But it'd be great to hear from others and what's coming up for you and your questions at the moment. No immediate comments.
So let us come in this experiment with truth. A nice simple image. Let us see this soul in the image of a tiny point. With all the spiritual side and all, it is easy for us. All along, language is objective, which means during the meditation time, we are avoiding the letter I. The letter I has been used by ego, that's why we are avoiding the letter I. We want to bypass the ego as much as possible. So objective language, we are seeing this tiny point. This point, it is conscious, living soul. He is the invisible traveler, this tiny point. He is associated with this whole plastic world. But he is not part of that plastic world. Whole plastic camp is there. But this tiny point is a witness, is the observer of this plastic camp. And right now, Prashant is part of that plastic department. At the same time, this tiny point is the witness. He is aware that Prashant is going to disappear. Everything around Prashant is going to disappear. But this witness remains the same. He is immortal. This whole, the plastic world is also going to change. I mean, things change, disappear, reappear. But this witness is immortal. Doesn't change anything. So secure. He is not frightened or disturbed by the change or end or destruction or fire that is happening in that plastic box. Anyway, all the time, something is going on in that plastic world. Witness is observing this. He has no bondages. He is not in falsehood. If he had crossed the line, then it will disturb him. But we see this life where he is in full light, 100% light. And so independent, free. This freedom freedom in the mind allows him to see the wonder of his sky. He discovers his world of complete silence. In that story world, there is a non-stop commotion going on. That is the nature of that world. But he knows at the same time this world of complete silence and a world of complete stillness. World of the divine family. They all are like these tiny points. This is the world of immortality. Changeless, endless, timeless. Beyond harm. That's why divine. If no one needs anything and no one can be harmed by anything, what remains is joy and love. It is like a world of eternal celebration. Silent celebration. Every second our focus is in this world, we are making it easy for others to experience this. This is like a world benevolence. And ultimately, this is all that matters. Otherwise, everyone's attention is trapped in that plastic. You are silently shining light here. Just that this invisible player becoming conscious. That is all. He remaining conscious. He creates light in this dimension. For him, it is from the heart. He knows the wonder of this world. He knows the greatness of his family, true family. He knows of his life with God. World of truth. But truth is immensely beautiful. He knows this. In truth, he knows the wonder of the self, life with God. And everything at this level is superlative. God, But it is like an eternal bond with God, love from God, equality with God, company of God, worthiness. Truth has always been there. The only factor that was required was we remaining conscious. When ego is conscious, ego is not able to come in this truth. Ego cannot come to God. But the invisible soul becomes conscious. One expression Baba used, where there is truth, you dance. Dance, why? Because the truth is beautiful. All round beautiful. There is perfection and there is fullness and there is no beggar and there is no victim and there is no demon. There is no demon in you or anyone anywhere here. That's why it is a supreme reality. Everyone. This applies to all souls, all life that extends to beyond human. All souls are like this. They are all worthy of unconditional love. All humans and beyond. They are worthy of unconditional love. All are worthy of unconditional regard. If they are divine and royal, such is the truth. Thank you. Is it time for rules or the plan?
It's a good time. So, question for discussion in the rooms. Would you like to suggest something?
And first question is, has anyone crossed the line? It is.
Yeah. That's question number 1. Yep. So that would be short. And the second?
And how to, if we have crossed the line, how to come back on the right side of the line, come into truth.
Curious, because in a way there's simple solution, but there is the twist. As you mentioned, ego can't come to God. Invisible soul becomes conscious. So yeah, it'd be good to investigate the way to keep it easy and discern the twist. So put that in the chat. So we'll meet back in around 10 or 15 minutes. If you're in the wrong room for your language, do raise your hand or press the help. We'll see you back soon. Thank you. Hello, welcome back. Just to create this moment to reflect and the experience of the truth, the beautiful truth. And then we'll continue with the special guest speaker. Thank you. So today we're joined by Hervé. So I don't know if I quite got the pronunciation, but I believe you're joining us from France today. It'd be lovely to hear what's coming up for you, and very warm welcome on behalf of everyone.
Okay, could you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Warm welcome.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. So just a few thoughts about the topic of crossing the line. So I think it's important to notice when you cross the line as quickly as possible in order to go back to the right side, on the right track. So I think it's important to be alert and to talk to yourself and to spend time with yourself regularly during the day in order to check if you are on the right side or on the wrong side. And I think that the signs to be aware of that is if you are unhappy, if you are overwhelmed by emotions, if you are on a reactive mood, it means that you are not on the right side, and it's a signal that you have to step back and go in introversion and to notice that to realize that you have to step back to the right side. So I think some signs of that you are not on the right track. If you are unhappy and you don't feel comfortable, I think you have to be aware that something wrong is present. And also to go back to the right side, I think it's good to be exposed to the truth. For me, what if I am feeling that I am coming to the wrong side, what I do is that I listen to Murli or to a class in order to be exposed to the truth. Baba is the truth. So if you are exposed to the truth, it's you could come back quickly on the right track. So either you could meditate also to have yoga with Baba, but for me, I prefer to hear some Murli points, to know about points of truth. It allows me to go into meditation more easily than going directly to yoga. So it's my experience. For me, the knowledge is Baba is speaking the truth. Baba is incorporeal, but he gives us the method to go back to the truth and to be combined with him. To stay combined with him, to stay in his company. I think it's a method to prevent us to cross the line. Yes, exposed to the truth, either in meditation, have relationships with Baba, different relationships, and also exposed to what he's saying, because Baba says the truth. So you have to face that he is the teacher speaking the truth is in front of me. Just so you have to, if you are exposed to the truth, I think you have the intoxication, because at that time you feel intoxicated, you feel happy. So you are less prone to go back to the wrong side. But it's need attention on be alert throughout the day, and take time regularly to talk to the self, to see the self. I like Surya before the last Abhyakt meeting, he says that one Brahmin after would like to surrender, but after a few months he say, I don't want to stay in Indian Sarovar, or I don't know, in Madhuban. I want to leave. So he says that you don't see yourself. It's why you don't want to stay here. You want to go outside. So I think it's it touched me, this sentence, see yourself, talk to yourself, in order to explore within yourself if you are on the right track or go to the wrong side. So it's my journey about this topic.
Thank you, and also appreciate sharing short notice, and very much resonate with checking in with what is happening on the emotional stage. That huge indicator that we might have a habit to brush over definitely gives clues. And I love this, see yourself, and especially the clean mirror of what we are receiving in the Murli. It is the exposure to the clean mirror and Baba's perspective. Thank you so much. Yeah, to be in truth, then we can, when we are in truth, we will be able to honor the truth of the self. So we're going to welcome in back Prashant, and thank you so much.
And thank you, Har. And it's so nice to see you. Yes, it is so useful, this subject of truth. It is like the essence for everyone, really. I'm going to read a short passage from the Murli that we all heard on Sunday. And Baba is saying, okay, there is truth. If you are soul conscious, you are in truth. Without soul consciousness, you are not in truth. Baba is starting with that. But then Baba is saying, at present, you even forget yourselves. You become body conscious. Your thoughts are not always filled with the power of truth. Would you call waste thoughts truthful? You did not say anything false. So why would you not call them true? If someone were to say, I don't ever tell a lie, I always tell the truth, then the recognition of this truth is that there would always be divinity experienced. Proof of truth will be divinity experienced. Divinity in thoughts, words, actions, relationships, and connections. You may be speaking the truth, but there is no divinity. Someone repeatedly says, I'm telling the truth, I'm truthful. However, if you are truthful and there isn't divinity, then others would not feel that truth. They would feel that you are stubborn. You are trying to prove yourself. There is never a need to prove the truth. Truth reveals itself. If you prove your own truthfulness with stubbornness, that divinity would not be visible. It will appear something ordinary. So I will stop here. So what are we seeing there? What exactly is going on? So someone is saying, I'm telling truth, our life, many situations come, life is like this, one day someone is blaming you for being false, or for being truth, untrue. Or it can be any kind of blame. Sometimes something breaks, someone praises, something goes up, something goes down. Life is like this. The question is, what is my reaction at that time? Is the reaction coming from the beggar? Or is the reaction coming from the victim? If someone is trying to prove, no, I'm truthful, some defensive reaction. It is coming from the victim. Please don't blame me, this kind of thing. If the reaction is coming from the slave, now that is a proof that you crossed the line. Divinity won't be there. So these are beggar is not divine, victim is not divine. So different, even logic people, even your dog and cat knows that you have crossed a line. This is something not quite right. They don't need to have knowledge. Children, everyone can know this is coming from the lower reaction. It is not divine. So we have to check this, spot this in ourselves. One first day we won't be forever and in truth, but at least let us know when in your inside, in your head, reaction is coming. Is this the reaction coming from behind the line, or we have crossed a line? If you have crossed a line, then the reaction will come from the victim within you. You will feel, poor me, why am I, they are blaming me for nothing. They use the language, I want to put the record straight. This kind of language, as if it matters, that everyone agrees that I am blameless. So in different ways, he tries to come here, reactions of the orphan, or the demon, all these reactions. What are the divine reactions? What will be the reaction that is coming from if you are behind the line? When you are behind the line, the first thing is you are very lucky. And no one can change it. Very secure in that. Secure in your relationship with God, secure in your oneself, you are immortal. And no one can, people can blame anything. And what does it matter? It is a, the truth, is so big and so beautiful. And so that really doesn't matter. Say if you got lots of gold and people say you are poor, you are poor. Does it matter? People say that you are poor when you know you got so much gold. It is a bit like that. If you are behind the line, you are connected to this wonderland, and you are secure. You feel you are full. You know there is perfection. You know everyone is good, innately good. That's why that language, unconditional love and unconditional regard. In the story, they can be, they don't have choice. That is a drama. That is a part. And nothing, it is not an issue. I also got a part of in this drama, of some kind. And we have played part in the Iron Age and Copper Age, and right now, that is the part. So if others got a part of villain, that is a part. Some of your friend may be acting as a dragon in a drama. That's a part in the drama. He remains your friend, and he remains worthy of love. One who is behind the line, for him this is obvious. He doesn't mix things. To mix things is childish. To remind us, we will mix. Today we'll mix. That's okay, but not to say that is okay. To know that it's a situation of crossing the line into falsehood. To be in truth means I don't cross, I don't mix things. I know that everyone is good and immensely good. There's no difference. Baba himself says, all souls are like the Father. So they are immensely good. Zero victim and zero demon. That is very divine. So you silently have this feeling. And then your reaction is coming from this space of fullness, and from that love, and from that secure and noble and royal, from that your reaction is coming. You don't have to prove anything. You don't have to prove your character there. That I am. There is, for what? Ego wants to prove. Ego wants a little bit of credit, because he's a beggar and he's a victim, but the invisible player is the invisible prince, and he is the angel. Eternally, he is the prince. He knows this. Yeah, you want to add anything, say anything? And we'll also hear from Sarah.
I appreciated the contrast. If it's not divine, that it is the bigger victim slave. And also revisiting that Murli. There was a comment in the chat, the trick is to be able to play your part in the world of the drama stage while being a detached observer and not creating any form of a bond. And the person saying they've managed to practice this in daily life. Has anyone else achieved this? So it's a comment. So yeah, I think it's interesting. It's ongoing, isn't it? The way the ego can come to claim, and then ego helplessly wants to defend, prove, and put the record straight. So it's so nice to start to observe it, and the proof of truth being divine divinity within. That's a bit like Hervé was saying, that checking the intention behind the feeling with which the action is being performed. It becomes tangible, ongoing process. Yes. So that's what's coming up here in the chat.
Yeah, I just want to say this daily life, that aspect. Every minute you are practicing this, this is life, The daily life is life. 24 hours is the life. You are creating 1 minute, but that minute, let it be of quality. That and not mixing it with the plastic world. The reason we are using the word plastic is that it becomes very clear when you are crossing the line. It becomes clear. Our world is invisible, alaukic, different, unearthly. It is a different world that has to go into our system deeper. Everything of ours is alaukic, including ourselves. The tiny point who is observing this, he's witness always. So you are playing with that for 1 minute, and during that minute, you are nourishing that truth. You are into that camp of truth. You are nourishing that higher consciousness. Create another minute. Let there be that hobby inside. Baba likes the word, or the Baba sometimes uses the word. It is like dun in Hindi. It is like you are at it. You are almost like an obsession, but let us call it positive obsession. But hobby, but Baba's word was dhun. You repeatedly want to come back to that experience. So here, once you get a taste of this, you like it. We're talking about divine, and you are secure, and life with God, and the world of perfection and celebration and good karma. Who wouldn't like to come there again? It's like waking up, something inside wakes up. You get a glimpse of it. You want to come back to it again. You can't come back again. That will continue to grow. The old habits are strong. That will also pull you out. That's fine. But as the life is going on, continue to nourish that higher consciousness. From first day, it will not be constant forever. That is not to feel unhappy about it, but half a minute, 1 minute, accurately and of quality, congratulate yourself for that.
There is a question, if I can grasp. Situations happen and I approach without emotion, so that cannot be false. Is that correct?
Of course, we all approach with some emotion, but are these emotions coming from the truth, coming from the angel within us, or are these emotions coming from the lower consciousness? And then if it is coming from the lower consciousness, then we can't use the word coming from truth. That is what the whole thing is. The lower consciousness will be from somewhere here, from the victim, or those emotions of the victim. When we are in the higher consciousness, it is no concept of disappointment, no smell of it. like taking an example, someone may be blaming, there may be loss, there may be, death also. But he knows in a natural way, his reality beyond the plastic. That is what matters for him, not the plastic. He knows he never, there cannot be injustice for him. If he is living in that plastic level, he thinks about injustice, But if he's in the real world, he knows there can never be injustice. And that's why he's never a victim. And he's never a beggar. Never. Never an orphan. In the drama part maybe of the orphan, but he knows he's never the orphan. And he's full and perfect, lucky. That's why lucky in that, with a broad meaning, lucky on every front. And he has got the best. These are the feelings with which he stays. But he also knows everyone is like this. That is why he creates light for others. Like we can go to the others and treat them as beggars. And oh, poor you, I'm here to help you, you beggar. Or other is to remind him, you are the eternal prince. So the intervention from the angel is to take others out of that false camp, plastic camp. And in his vision, he knows they all are lucky on a big level. In the drama, many things are going on. As was said, it is we are in the Iron Age. But he knows everyone is lucky. And everyone is good. And everyone is divine. Because he knows the real world beyond the plastic.
Interesting. I don't know that the question was understood, but I think you've still answered it, because the question is emotion-free. Surely that can't be false, but emphasis is more, of course, no Ravan's emotions or passions, but it's not replaced with no emotion or feeling. It's more that we will experience instead the higher. So it's that the discrimination will surely be empowered, because that from that higher space, it's a completely different emphasis. So it's not a non-emotional state or a non-feeling state. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's good.
We kind of come to time, although there is just one question that's dropped in the chat, which perhaps if you could give insight, short-ish answer, then we'll finish with the drill. So when we lose our loved ones, should we not cry at all?
Sure. In our ordinary life, some emotion comes, reaction comes, we totally accept it and not feel guilty about that. But in the higher consciousness, that is where we are working for. Our destination is that higher consciousness. He knows that no one dies. He knows everyone is immortal. As was said, he knows the true family behind the story. And so there is no grief. There is inside, he never feels something bad has happened to anyone or to you. No, that is story things. He knows beforehand in the story things are going to change and things are going to end. So he was not surprised by it. That is the way script is. But internally never a reason for any sort, if he is in the higher consciousness.
Helps. Thank you. Appreciate that. It's no judgment, but we have this option, and someone's written, truth takes us away from the sorrow of loss. It's nice. So thanks so much, and opportunity to go into the depth of the truth and being in truth. So we'll finish with a drill from Madhavan. Enjoy. Thank you.
अच्छा